Hello, everyone. I had a little bit of a false start there and was chatting to myself, but welcome to the room now. We've got you all coming in and want to say a big welcome to our latest webinar, which is preventing spooky in-app experiences from haunting your product. So as we've got a few more people coming in, we'll start off with a question. Well, a conversation starter more, which is share in the comments where you're joining from and what's your favorite spooky Halloween film. I will reveal my favorite film in the next slide too. It can be as scary or as fun as you like. Oh, The Conjuring. Okay, we're going scary straight away. I love this. I love horror films myself. The only thing is I get too scared on my own, so I always need someone to be there watching them with me. Baltimore, hey Julia, hi Leslie. Lots of chat. It's going to be a fun one today. We're trying a newer format where we're going to be a little bit quicker. We're going to show off some tips and tricks so you don't spook anyone this Halloween. Beetlejuice, Halloween Town. Hi, everyone. Oh, we're so excited you're here. Wow. Hey, Alyssa, Benoit. I should introduce myself too. Now we've got some people in the room. So I'm Kirsty. I'm Director of Content and Product Marketing here at Chameleon. My favorite Halloween spooky film is Scream. I'd actually say all of them. I watched the first one when I was a very young teenager. I thought it was terrifying, like it was the scariest thing I'd ever seen. But now I quite like them. I think they're quite fun. They're a little bit nostalgic too. So I think that's in between the fun and terrifying. Some things that I don't like are scary product tours. I don't think anyone really likes a scary product tour. And well, we're going to find out how to make sure that we never show one again. Now, before we get into good stuff, just a little bit of housekeeping. Like, this is being recorded as we speak. We'll get that recording over to you in the next couple of days. Questions, if you have anyone I'm talking, like please use the chat tab. I'll be following along. I've got one eye on it over here. I'll try and answer them at the end. If we have a ton of questions, we'll make sure to put some of them in a follow-up email and get some answers so we can create ghost fighting in-app experiences. What we're going to cover today, we're going to go over some of the common in-app UX that scares off users. We don't want that at Halloween or any time of the year. We're going to look at how we can get your product completely rid of them and keep them out for good. We'll go over some best practices for designing experiences that drive results. And like I said, we'll have that fun Q&A at the end. So before we kick off, just get like a knowledge level where we're at to, I'm going to launch a poll here, which is how are you currently managing your in-app experiences? I'd love to know if that's something you're actively doing right now or something that you're coming into this webinar pretty fresh on. Great. So it looks like we've got a few people using in-app experiences already. That's good to know. I can tailor what I'm talking about and keep it to your knowledge level. Brilliant. Shall we get on into it then? Let me get on the right window. Like I said, I'm Kirsty. I'm from Chameleon. We are a in-app product adoption platform, so we can help you not spook your users, keep them happy, drive all that good stuff, the revenue, the retention through tours, tooltips, in-app search, all of which I'm going to dive in and out of as we speak. But beware, you're in for a scare. It's going to get spooky before we get to how to fix it. So what is the spooky experiences? They can come in many different forms. They can be a product tour, a survey, a tooltip that's got a mind of its own, it's gone off, it's doing its own thing. Or it could just be as simple as like you've launched something in your product. It might not even have been you. Someone has launched it years ago. It's still kicking about and it's really, really haunting you. They're lurking in the shadows of your UI, and they really are just waiting to disrupt the perfect path to aha. And we said about that good stuff that you can get from an app. Well, spooky in-app UX, it can go the other way. People are going to churn. They're going to be annoyed. They're going to be like, I hate this product. I never want to return to this haunted house again. Users are trying to learn your product. And if they can't escape from these tours, they're going to run. They're going to run for the hills. I thought to kick off, I could show you a few spooky experiences in the wild that I've actually encountered recently. So you're getting into the mindset of what we're looking for. The other day, I was trying to actually edit another webinar, and I started trying a new tool. I couldn't get into the tool. There were too many pop-ups coming all over the place. I had like an upsell offer here. I had some new functionality that I don't know what to do. Like, I've not even learned how to like actually edit the video before I can get to this point. I walked away. I ran away. I don't want to go into that haunted house. There can be other types of spooky experiences. It can be you've got a tooltip with a mind of its own. Here, looking at Google Analytics, not one of my best friends in the tool world at the moment, but it was telling me to do something, but just showing me nothing. So, of course, I dismissed that. It kind of added to my anger with this tool anyway, and I left. And another one I found on my phone, this was, I was trying to find something to do at the weekend. I wanted to see if there was like a market on in Barcelona, anything I could do. And this car advert came up. And as you can see, I had this tiny little rectangle here of like room to actually move and interact with this website, timeout. So I went somewhere else. Like, this was really, really frustrating. And the funny thing is, I can't even drive. So I probably clicked that car ad way too many times and they got charged for the clicks. Whoops. So with an idea of what a spooky experience is, let's meet them one by one. First, we are going to meet a zombie. Now, what is a zombie? Spotting a zombie in the wild is easy because they continue to live forever. They never, ever die. Users might try to close them or dismiss them, but really, you can't get rid of them. Like me trying to find something to do at the weekend, I couldn't get rid of that car ad. But we're going to aim for their heads today, and we are going to take them down. To get to the root of a zombie experience, some things you might be looking for. I know it's not like a grey face, bleeding from the head. It's generally coming from a poor recurrence setting where someone hasn't quite configured it right, as in this shouldn't repeat to someone that's seen it before. Or like once they've taken this action, like never show them this again. Like the upsell has been done or they have engaged with a feature. They don't need to see it again. And the user frustration level with this one is pretty high. It's like, please leave me alone. I don't want to see this. This is what one could look like in the wild. I've tried to do my best of making bad experiences to show you, but it might be a tour that just doesn't have a dismiss option, and you try and click like, please go away, or try and do an action, but it's coming back. It's bugging you time and time again. But the good news is we don't need a shotgun to aim for their heads. We can do it through our laptop. The antidote is making sure that you have a layer of control over these experiences. And I've put together a quick zombie fighting toolkit for you here. One thing that can work really well is snoozing. You might think, okay, if I'm putting an exit button, like they're just going to get rid of it straight away. But if you're offering people the chance to snooze and come back to it later, this is actually really great. We've looked into our own data and we find, I think it's about 1 in 3 people who have snoozed an experience, they'll come back to it later. So don't be afraid to be like, oh no, they're not going to interact with my in-app tours. A good chunk of them will. Another great feature that you can use here is delaying how you show your product tours. That can be waiting until someone's like, stop moving their mouse or they're not typing anymore to show them. And finally, I really recommend using something like rate limiting. We call it Chameleon. If you're using another tool, you might know it is throttling, and that's controlling how many experiences people are going to see in one day, 1 week, 1 month, making sure that you're just not getting like time and time surveys, tours chucked at them, because that's not a very good user experience for anyone. Shall we meet another one? Let's go. Let's go into the haunted house this time. And who are we going to meet? We're going to meet these haunted ghosts. Now, these experiences, they have minds of their own. They are doing their own thing. You might have told them something a while back, it got forgotten, and now your app has changed, and they're going wild. They're wreaking havoc. They don't run when they should, and they display when they shouldn't. But then you might actually start to question yourself, like, as if you're seeing a ghost. Am I the only one seeing this? Are these experiences running? Are even the right people seeing what I want them to see? To diagnose a ghost, most common cause here you're going to see is that experiences, they're not attached to a trigger or an element within your app correctly. It could be, like I said, things have changed in the app. Maybe you had a new button 6 months ago. They're not new anymore. It's still running. Keep an eye out for that. And in terms of user frustration, I put this at a medium. People are confused. You're confused. Why is this running? We're all confused. And here's an example of what one could look like here. As you can see, you've got a little ghost peeking out. Why is it coming there? Oh, now I see. It's actually wandered off page. It's not looking great, but it's still haunting you from the depths of your app. I'll go deeper into a few more of the ways you can prevent this after we have met our final monster. But before we get to them, let's chill. There's no exorcism required to get rid of this ghost. We do have an antidote. Strict rules for when your experiences should and should not appear. Now, your toolkit in this round: alerts. Okay, this is a really good one. We have it in Chameleon, and it's a way of just saying, okay, not many people have seen this experience in a while. Like, is this meant to be live? Because it looks like it's not. Like, of course, you might have an experience that is meant to go to a niche group of people. But if you're seeing like, okay, 1 or 2 people are seeing this every week or month, something could be dodgy there. Element triggering. This is another great way of making sure that experiences appear when they should. It's as simple as, if the element isn't on page, this part of your app isn't appearing, don't show the product here. And similarly with rules, you can put them in place to say, okay, this should appear on a page load, or this should not appear if someone has seen it already. Similar to a zombie, you're seeing a bit of a connection. They all do have a tendency to haunt you. And now for our final monster, the grievous goblins. How do you spot them? Now, they're pretty destructive. They'll be tearing up your app, and in the background, they're going to be ruining your onboarding and adoption efforts. They don't show when they're meant to, but even worse, they could actually be pushing your app up in places that you don't want it to. They're not working entirely with your tech. Maybe you've got some iframes embedded within your app. Maybe you've got some shadow DOMs going on that make your app move about a little bit. The goblins don't like that, and they're ready to ruin everything. So causes, like I said, iframes are one, shadow DOMs another, single page apps that can be a key cause for these goblins to come out and play. And user frustration, I think this is higher than a ghost, because users might think this is actually your app breaking, but really it's the in-app UX within that's messing about with it all. Now, to show you what a goblin could look like in the wild, this is an example of a tooltip. So looks pretty regular, normal on the surface. However, if you look into it, click here to add users to your profile, pointing to media. Looks like that tooltip has had some goblin intervention there and is pointing at the wrong thing. Instead, your users are going to be very confused here. But we can goblin proof. Yay. The antidote here is really when you're looking for a product adoption tool, making sure that it does work with the intricacies of your app. For your toolkit, you're going to be looking for these three contenders. So we're looking at single page app support, iframes, shadow DOMs. They're going to make sure if your app is moving about, your product adoption platform is going to be able to follow it there too. Wait until conditions. This is a good one. Similar to that smart delay, it can be, let's say I'm creating a Trello board, and when I create my 5th card, then the experience is going to show and not before. And then triggers for experiences, just adding a little bit more control here. What I like to do whenever I'm building is, okay, maybe it's only show upon a click, or only show when there's this icon that I'm adding within the app. It could be like a little info sign, it could be new, it could be beta, but that just allows you to make sure it's actually appearing when you want it to, and that there's no goblins. So let's move on to the next part, which is swapping tricks for treats this spooky season. Now, there's 3 ways that I've put together here where you can make your app delightful, monster-free, and just a great place that your users want to come back to. So giving users choices is something that I talk about a lot whenever I'm doing a webinar on onboarding or activation. Is that one size really doesn't fit everyone coming to your app. Like, everyone's going to come with a different level of knowledge. They've got a different need, a different intent. I think we can be guilty of thinking, okay, no, people are coming because of X problem, when really users are thinking about, okay, I'm actually wanting to go straight to, I don't know, M instead of ABC. They jump about, learn at different paces. So I think one way that you can give a treat here is opting for pick your own adventure rather than imposing like a strict pathway. I'll show you what I mean by that, and not just the books that you used to read when you were younger, where it'd be like, turn to page 55 if you choose to fight the goblin. We have one new product which will be coming, actually it's out of beta already, and it will be a free product in the next few weeks, so hold tight for that one. But by using a command K search, we call it help bar. It's a way where users can straight away ask, okay, how do I do this? And if you plug in all of your help documentation beforehand, you can sprinkle a little bit of AI on it and give people contextual answers in your app without having to go down loads of different directions, meeting other haunted tabs and characters, and actually get what they need. And then, like I said, that pick your path adventure. Once we're doing onboarding tours that are appearing at the right time, we can offer different ways for different users. So here's one that we actually have in Chameleon, and you can decide what you want to do. Maybe you want to play a little bit more before you go to installation and trial, or maybe you're ready already and you're like, okay, let's do this, let's go live. Building a tour like that is really, really simple to do. And we see like really good completion rates on this, upwards of about 60%, when you just let people, like I said, do what they want, give them a treat. Okay, another rule for giving treats, not tricks, this Halloween, is less is more. Now, why is there a photo of Sephora, Kirsty? You might be thinking. I have a little story about Sephora. I've never bought anything from Sephora. I find it intimidating. There's too much going on in there. And I also find like straight away they're asking asking, do you need help? Like, what are you looking for? Every time I've gone there, I don't know what I'm looking for. I feel like I'm going to find something, but end up running away. I think this might be my haunted house. And the point I'm trying to make here is too much guidance is counterintuitive. Like, users quickly rush to exit if you're showing way, way too much. Like how we talked about using that rate limiting to make sure people aren't being bombarded. Try using that snooze. I think they will come back. Maybe if someone hadn't sprung upon me straight away in Sephora, I would be back. And really find that right balance of helping people out without being too heavy-handed. Don't go for the straight sale. Don't push features on them that they are not ready to engage with as soon as they signed up. Let them figure it out a little bit too. I've shared a couple of examples that I really like of less is more and that I found to be a treat. One is from HubSpot on the top. It's just like a little subtle tooltip to nudge you in the right direction. You're like, okay, I can create my team. Likewise, below we've got an example by Copy AI. This is actually a Chameleon one, which is great to share. And here it's just like, they've got a new feature. Once you hover over it, it's going to come up with, oh, this is what you could do with this new feature. But they're really not just like bashing it in your face here. You've got the chance to engage if you want, or leave if you wish. Another one on the less is more point that I have here is you don't always have to do just like an in-your-face product tour, survey, tooltip, whatever it might be. Using a checklist is a really great way to gamify the onboarding experience. And you can give users a few things that they have to work through. Usually they're going to be tasks that, you know, other like maybe like higher tier customers have done, or people who really get value out of your product. You can push them in that right way. And you can also deliver more helpful content in app. And my final point of treats is control it as you scale. We all want to scale as a business. We want our teams to grow. We want to have more help, more minds. But that can actually cause some poltergeists to come onto your own team too. And that's completely unintentionally. Everyone wants a bit of space in the product, whether it's the product team themselves or guilty in the marketing team. We always have something that we want to share that we think would be helpful. But just putting a little bit of control there can really help. You can use some roles, you can use permissions just to make sure people aren't coming in straight away, launching hundreds, well, maybe a bit too much, tens of experiences that are going to make your app look like Times Square at night, flashing all over the place. Users don't know where to look. A couple of features here that you can use. I talked about the alerts, being alerted if something isn't quite going right, or you can use that throttling feature just to make sure they're being delivered at a good rate. Couple more, this is Chameleon specific here we're looking at, is that you can review changes to see what's happened and you're not thinking, oh, did a ghost change this in the middle of the night? And then on the right, we have our alerts feature in action as well as rate limiting. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind tour of our spooky characters. I hope you feel equipped to identify them in the wild and be able to fight them. I do want to try and do a speed round of battling one in the wild if I can try live. So I'm going to launch a quick poll, and this is, what in-app monster should we fight? In the meantime, after you've done the poll, please feel free to use the chat. You can pop in any questions there. And after we've battled our monster, we can come back and answer a few of them. Oh, haunted experiences we want to battle. I do love a ghost story. I'll give it a couple more seconds. If you don't want to meet the ghost, speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, we're gonna. Oh, it's died. Let's see. I'm going towards the ghost. We can always weave in a little bit of zombiness in here too. Oh, zombie one. Okay, let's pivot. Okay, let's go back to our zombie for a quick recap. Meet the zombies. What are we looking for? They're never going to die. You can try and close and dismiss them, but they are indestructible. Okay, here's the original zombie experience I created. I might need to log in. Nope, we're good to go. So try and get rid of me. I dare you. Here's a product tour. We've just gone through the Chameleon dashboard to get here. We've got a beautiful picture, some of my friends from the weekend that I put on here. So as you can see, we don't have an exit button. That's going to be pretty hard for your users to get out of. So first things first, let's fix it. We're going to add a dismiss button. We can make this look however apparent as we like, or however subtle. I was saying, like, if you're going to give an exit, like, make it loud and clear. It's there. Now, when we've added that, there's a couple of things that we could do. We could go straight to exit. I would really recommend, like, trying a snooze. You can snooze it for hours, days, weeks, or months. And you can also choose, like, okay, how many times are you going to interrupt someone with this? 1 or 2 times. Let's go. But we don't want to be a zombie that's going to be coming back 5 times unless this is like mission critical to your app. Like, people have to do an action. So let's put a quick snooze on it and we'll say, okay, they can come back in a week and they can take this product tour. Some other nice things that we can do here just to make it less zombie and more delightful. We can add that on-page trigger like we were talking about. So there's 2 kind of main ways that we can do this. It could either be, okay, people are going to hover or click on an element before this tour is going to show. So here I've just selected an element that would need to be hovered over in order for this tour to show. I would confirm that. And if I go into preview mode, our zombies should appear. But there's also some more subtle actions that we can do here. And that could be if people are typing on their keyboard, maybe there's like, let me get rid of this element. It could be the keyboard input, it could be any input. It could be maybe a specific number that you want them to put in. It could be an email address. Or we could even go for a smart delay. And I like smart delay a lot because it's just showing the tour at the right time when people aren't going to be disrupted, when they're not in the middle of something and it's going to come like completely out of context, then it would show. So if we put the smart delay on now, I'm going to see if this will work in preview mode. So the smart trigger is active. We're waiting for a brief period of inactivity, but I'm going to show it immediately because it's going to wait a little bit longer there. And then I'm going to go on for one final point. We talked about the choose your own adventure. So let's just see what that could look like as we're building out this tour before we go back to the Q&A. And here it would be adding a secondary button. And we could put something like, no zombies, I want to play. Let's say that. We'd center in the tour to make it look nice. And then, as always, we have 2 different options that people could do. Let's say, no zombies, I want to play. It actually is going to open up something different. We want to have playtime with the zombies. Then we could do an additional action. Now, this is our integrations in play where you could go on to, let's say, book a call. We could do it with HubSpot, Chili Piper. You know, these zombies, they are great with their tech and they're willing to invest in getting these meetings. So you could add your Chili Piper and that would open up a modal for you to book time with them. So that's a quick tour of turning a bad zombie experience into something that is a little bit more delightful, I hope. Let's head back over and see if we have got any questions in the chat. No questions as of yet. A quieter crowd. I hope the goblins haven't got you, but happy to hang out for maybe a little bit longer just to see if any do come up. We've got one typing, so happy to hear. Oh, thank you, Leslie. Well, I'm happy to wrap up here. I really do want to open up conversations about in-product experiences, making them delightful. I care a lot about good ones, and I also talk quite a lot about them on LinkedIn. So feel free to reach out at any point. You've got my email here. It's kirsty@chameleon.io. On LinkedIn, Kirsty Finlayson. And then if you want to give it a go yourself, you can try Chameleon completely for free. You can enter via chameleon.io/sign up, go on to create a free account, play about in the sandbox for as long as you like. You can create the wildest experiences you could dream of. And then when you're ready to go live, it's a simple 14-day free trial that you start and put them live in your application. I will launch one final poll here, just if this has got you thinking and you'd like to hear more about Chameleon. We do offer some demos with our product experts. If you've got any specific tech for which you're hoping Chameleon might work with your app, or maybe you just want a little bit more info, find out what we're all about, we're here. We're happy to chat whenever. So do fill out that poll and let us know if we can help in any way. Okay, team. Well, thank you so much for attending. I hope you've not been too spooked out. I hope you have a great spooky season and see you all soon. Bye, team.